Hey everyone, back tuning into today's video. Going to have a look at weather going through into December for today's video. Of course, it's 1st of December on Tuesday, so we're getting almost to the end of the year now. So we'll have a look at the weather for the next week, 10 days first, then we'll have a look at the coming month from the CFSB2. But before I get on with all of that, just to say about the ads at Gadgets Office, there's links articles on all pages. Gadgets Office, I have browser widgets. Click through the links if there's any articles that you're interested in. Thanks so much for doing that. There's video ads on most pages which open up in the content when you watch your web close back up again, and that's helping to pay for the website as well. And also helping to pay for the website is the Amazon shop. It's been a huge success, phenomenal success so far this season. So if you've got any more Christmas shopping to do at Amazon between now and Christmas, just click through the Amazon banners in the Christmas shop. You go to Amazon, do your shopping as normal, don't need to do anything else differently, because you've gone from Gadgets Office to Amazon, we get a revenue fee on things that you are purchasing. It's been a big success, so thanks so much to everybody that's done their Christmas shopping via the Amazon banners in Gadgets Office shop. So we'll get on with the weather for next week, 10 days. First of all, we're going to start off with the 500 millibar height anomaly flow charts. We've got the ECMWF here on the top, and the GFS is on the bottom. 500 millibars, 8,000 feet is an area in the atmosphere where high pressure, low pressure are being moved around by the jet stream. And essentially, this is what weather is, the movement of air via the jet stream. So blue extrapolates to low pressure, red, orange extrapolates to high pressure. So what we see on the east end of the Earth is that we've got a rather flat westerly flow here, with a traditional setup of low pressure to the north and high pressure to the south. The tight lines here is the jet stream coming through the country, so it's fairly unsettled, but also quite mild. Increasingly dry, probably, from this ridge of high pressure building up from the south. Now, the GFS is a little bit different. That trough in the Atlantic is further away from us, and we've got this ridging building up from the south into central parts of Europe. So with this one, the jet stream is going a bit like that. It's a more settled situation. It's probably still quite mild, but if that high pressure gets any closer to us and becomes centred over us, then you could certainly start thinking about frost and fog. But the ECMWF, I should say, is a lot flatter, and these are the flow charts up to the 6th of December. So the GFS temperature and precipitation ensembles look like this, ensemble chart. So the red line here is the 30-year temperature average. Seems generally trending above average. Do go a little bit colder over the weekend, but then next week it warms up again, then it cools down a little bit. End of next week then warms up again. So pretty much a zonal sine wave, I think, here of warmer, colder, warmer and colder, and so on. When you average it all out, we probably come out above average. Precipitation, quite a lot of rainfall coming up as well. Not a great deal more for the rest of the working week, but we do get more rain as we go into the weekend and the start of next week. And then that continues through the course of next week, and really on as far as the ensemble goes, generally fairly regular bands of rain coming through. Maybe a little bit of a drying trend here through into the second week of December. That will be particularly so if that high pressure starts to build up from the south. The temperature anomaly for the coming week is looking significantly milder than average, yet again, from the 26th of November to 4th of December. The precipitation anomaly looks like this, a bit wetter than average from most parts, maybe a little bit drier than average down in the far south, close to that ridge of high pressure across France, but basically quite a wet week coming up. Here we go then with the direct charts. This is for GFS for Monday, bringing these westerlies through. They're mild, but they'll be bringing bouts of rain in off the Atlantic. Tight packed ice bars as well, so it will be windy. That takes us into Tuesday on into Wednesday as well. Very mild potentially through the middle part of next week, start of December. You see that the ice bars are going down towards the Azores, so really mild air being dragged up across England and Wales particularly. Tight packed ice bars again, so very windy, mild, wet, windy, really sums it up, I think, as we're going into next week. The end of next week starts to see a little bit of a change. We push those troughs through and begin to build a bit of a ridge from the southwest. So this is in slightly cooler air, and this ridge starts to build up from the south. That could give us some frost. It's not particularly cold, but it could give us some frost through the first weekend of December. This is Saturday the 5th of December, and on into Sunday the 6th. That high pressure is there, and it is across Central Europe, so we're bringing the air from a southerly to southeasterly flow. That could be fairly chilly air coming in off the continent, so maybe breaking out of that very unsettled weather through most of next week by the time we get through to the first weekend of December, with a risk of frost and fog perhaps becoming more of a problem over the weekend, probably into the second month of December. Having a look at the ECMWF again for the start of next week, very flat, westerly, mild, wet, windy through the start of next week, and that continues through much of next week as well. There's that long fetch southwesterly as we go into Wednesday, 2nd of December. That could be an exceptionally mild day, middle of next week. Then it turns a little bit cooler as we go through to the end of next week, but still keeping the same basic setup, westerly winds with low pressure to the north, high pressure to the south, and probably further bands of rain coming through. Day 10, Sunday the 6th of December, looks like this. Not as far north with that ridge of high pressure as the GFS, so we did see that difference on the height anomaly chart. The ECM is placing that ridge across France, and again very mild air coming around the top of that ridge. So where that ridge sits for the first weekend of December will be critical. If it's in the sort of position that the GFS has it, which is probably centred across Germany, then it could be quite chilly, certainly at night, risk of frost and fog. But this from the ECMWF is a very mild chart with basically tropical air being pushed up out of the Atlantic Ocean. Subtle differences can make a big difference at this time of year, but the overall trend is probably trending towards drier conditions over the first weekend of December. Just having a quick look at the CFS V2 for the coming month, and we'll have a more in-depth look at these charts tomorrow on JMA Friday, but these are 500 heights broken down into weekly periods. So the first week period goes from the 26th through to the 2nd of December. Ridge down to the southwest, low pressure up to the north, and westerly winds coming through a bit like that. It will be an unsettled week through the coming week, perhaps more so than you would think looking at that height anomaly chart. The week from the 3rd through to the 9th of December sees that ridge building up further. So it's becoming centred across central parts of Europe. This low pressure is becoming stuck in the Atlantic. Means the flow goes a bit like that. But this could start to bring up cooler air out of the continent, actually. That ridge is quite close. It's almost centred over us, but a little bit to the east. And I do think that could give us the chance of some frost and fog, perhaps, going from the 3rd through to the 9th of December. That high pressure is still with us as we go from the week through to the 10th to the 16th. This is definitely in a position to give frost anyway. The flow would be coming from an east to southeasterly direction with the low pressure away to the north. Now, don't be running away with the idea this is a particularly snowy spell of weather setting up. It would be very dry, but it could be quite cold in that sort of situation with a chance of frost and fog. And then we go through to the final week period. This is from the 17th through to the 23rd, so just before Christmas. And by the way, we'll have the 12th Christmas update on the Christmas updates page this evening. But for the week just before Christmas, we find this trough coming back in, and the flow going a bit like that. This could be sending things into a northwest-southeast trajectory. So this could be unsettled and fairly chilly as well as we're running up towards Christmas. It's not severely cold because there's no northern blocking to really feed the Arctic air down. But nevertheless, that could be a little bit on the wintry side with that trough beginning to send the jet stream onto a northwest-southeast trajectory. So we're looking at unsettled weather for the coming few days. Much of next week is going to be very unsettled with strong winds, very mild temperatures and bouts of rain. We get through towards the first weekend of December, so sort of next weekend, and we may see a change of high pressure beginning to become more influential. It's not northern blocking, so it won't give us any particularly severely cold weather, but if the high pressure builds far enough north, it could start to produce, at the very least, some frost and fog. So probably going to be watching out for that as we go through into the second week of the month. Right, that's it for now. We'll be doing a Christmas update tonight on the Christmas updates page, and tomorrow we'll be looking at the month ahead in detail with the Japanese and CFS V2 models. May throw in the Beijing Climate Centre if we get time as well. That's all now, and thanks.